don't even hear the compressor starting to actually kick on. Okay, so we have pretty much determined that all the refrigerant is probably leaked out. Okay, the gauges are hooked up, and low side is at just a little over 80, and the high side is about the same, which indicates that there isn't any kind of obstruction. Probably it's going to be a low charge. Either way, that's a good sign if they're both equal anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and start it up. See what happens when I turn the compressor on. I'll just set the camera down right here. Looks like a good spot for it. Okay, we'll watch the low side. I hear the cycle. I hear the compressor cycle. So it cools down. And of course, the high side, it just moves just a little bit. So it is functioning correctly. So I'm going to suspect there's a leak. I also want to add that I had charged it previously in the spring, and I did a vacuum test on it. Well, first off, I did a pressure test on it, and it held 110 pounds per square inch of pressure. I'm going to guess probably for about an hour and a half. And I'm looking back in here. These lines look good, but something that strikes suspicion is this high side, no, this low side line. You can't see it, it's wet, which indicates there's been an oil leak, and it looks like there's some kind of stop leak in it. Looks like that would be a good source to look for right there. So I will be getting into that. And also something else. I saw this connection right here earlier. When I pulled the cap, I noticed there was a couple of air bubbles come up. So I'm kind of having a suspicion that this cap is also bad. And also these hood props are getting kind of weak too, because the hood keeps falling on my head. But anyways, like I said, I will get into it and investigate this low side line, because it looks highly suspicious. It being it's wet, there's nothing else around it. Yeah, I definitely believe that is probably a refrigerant leak right there. And not even know it, but it's kind of weird because these are supposed to be barrier lines, and that's a rubber section right there. It looks like it's wet, unless something else has leaked here also. But I'll be getting into that. But I'm also going to suspect the service valve, that Schrader valve. Well, it's not really a Schrader valve, but it's a service port. I checked the compressor, it's dry. So I'll get into this deeper and find out what's going on with it. Alright, you can't see down in here, but I pulled some of this. It's got a little bit of, it's got some rubber insulation on this low side line, and it looks like what has happened, it has caught debris from road travel, salt water, dirt, has actually got in here and corroded the clamp around the line, causing it to leak. So, in order to fix it, I will have to go ahead and replace this accumulator. Getting it out might be a job, but that's all that's wrong with it. After that, it should work. I got the accumulator off of it, and you can see right here was the failure. This runs right along where the inner fender is, and of course it's exposed to the road grime and salt and other bad stuff that gets thrown up right there along that part. And that is what caused it to corrode. I'm going to say it probably corroded through and inside the metal line right there, which caused the leak. I don't see anywhere else where it could have been leaking. But that was the source of the leak. And over here, I've already been to the parts store and I have a new replacement. And looking at it, looks like it all matches up just like the old one. Barrier hoses and everything. The only difference, it has this clamp right here, which isn't used, but I'm not going to do anything with it. I'll just leave it. Everything else is the same. Another good practice that I really believe in is duplicating the original work by the manufacturer, which is why I'm painting this. You don't really have to, but it's just a good practice to do. When I worked at the Ford dealership one time, I replaced something, and of course the replacement part looked different than the original. And they brought it back to me, hey, this doesn't look just like the original did. Well, that's because it's a replacement part, you know. And I think they ended up complaining to the point where I just took it off and painted it. And I think it was a valve cover or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. Of course, the way I done it, I just took it out of the box and put it on. Oh, well, they didn't like it that way. But either way, like I said, you know, it's just a good idea to duplicate the work that was already there. You don't have to, it just makes it look better. Some people don't worry about it. Of course, had it be for me, I don't really think that I would fool with it too much either. It's got a little bit of a run there. Oh well.